This is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 7. And ye shall hear of wars Slovakia. Mark 13 and 7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for these such things must need be, but the end shall not be yet. Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, behold, the third woe coming quickly. Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Verse 7, Matthew 24 and 7, in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, For nation shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. In Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And Shalom to the Akim, scattered to the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And Shalom to the Akim, be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shalom to the Akim out there. And as you see, I brought out those scriptures, and I brought out some news articles as well too. Through the spirit of power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And this is in the news on August the 3rd, 2022 at 12:47 p.m. noon on Tuesday. And the highlight of this news article in the reads from RT.com was published August the 2nd, 2022. WorldNews.com. And the highlight of this news article in the reads, China begins military drills near Taiwan. Beijing vows to resolutely throttle eternal interference from the U.S. after Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. It says Beijing has begun conducting the military drills off of Taiwan after promising to launch a series of target military operations in response to the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to the self-governed island, China media reported. The eastern zone of the PLA Combat Command is consistently conducting a series of joint military operations around the island of Taiwan. CCTV reported hours after Pelosi arrived on the island. Pelosi touched down in Taipei late on Tuesday, despite repeated warnings from Beijing against attempting to visit the territory that it regards as the industrial part of China. So yeah, as been mentioned, in the previous videos, been catching up with the story. Even though Nancy Pelosi, she was able to have a trip, visit to Taiwan, meet with the leaders of Taiwan over there in the island, over there near the South China Sea, which is the island over there in Taipei, Taiwan. And definitely, China, they was in that military ready spirit, like in the book of Joel says, I believe Joel 3 and 9, prepare a war, wake up the mighty man. And that's what you're seeing from China and these other nations, they're in that prepare for war type spirit, they're in that warlike mindset spirit, and it's going to continue to be like that in these last days. You're going to continue to hear more increase of wars and rumors of wars And these wars and rumors of wars definitely been heating up, and these nations been showing their military might and strength. And you've been seeing lately, as of lately, a lot of military operation drills, a lot of military joint exercise drills, a lot of nations purchasing military weaponry, military aid, and military tanks, anti-missile tanks, and all type of everything that's related to military gear of practicing war and preparing for war, which is coming very soon. Which is coming very soon because we've been seeing signs of that, of the increase of wars and rumors of wars. Revelations 11 and 14, as I just brought out as the introduction of this sit-down lesson. So that's all you've been seeing for these past couple of weeks of increase of tensions between the nations. The taking shots at one another verbally. It's gonna get to a physical point as well too, because we're seeing signs of that. The nations against nations, kingdom against kingdoms, definitely increasing now more than ever. As I've been mentioning before in my previous videos and doing lessons on this matter, because these wars and rumors of wars definitely been increasing in the last days. It's definitely been heating up. Because, this is the year of 2022 of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, been turning up the heat on things, from January all the way into August now, and it's going to continue to heat up even now more than ever, because these are the signs of the times of we living into of and getting close to that World War III. Because World War III is imminent, because that guy at the UN, he made a statement about a couple of days ago. He said we're getting possibly to a nuclear war, and that's what is going to lead up to that WW3. Second war was passed, third war coming quickly, as it was recorded in the scriptures, and it's going to happen. It might not be right away, but it's definitely showing signs that it's going to happen, We are definitely going to get into the third world's war, because it's been showing signs of that between these nations increasingly against one another, with the Iran and the Iran and Israel situation, Hezbollah taking shots at Israel, because United States and Israel, they allies, they gonna have each other backs no matter what the situation is, because the tensions between Iran and Israel is gonna definitely increase more than ever. And then you got the ongoing tensions between Israel and Palestine all through the Middle East region. So that's all you're seeing, this number of clashes and conflicts and proxy wars and commotions, wars and rumors of wars. So all these is going to lead up into World War III, because we're definitely entering in that time, because we are living in a time of war, as the book of Ecclesiastes 3 and 8, I believe. Because, we are in a time to speak, it's the time to speak of prophecies, time to speak the words of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. And we're definitely living in a time of war as well too. Yeah, it's going to be times, it's going to be a time of peace or certain things calm, but things going to continue to escalate once more again, And that's where we're seeing these rumors of wars definitely increasing. Because like I mentioned before, I was going to, say it again, because times in the last days, while these wars and rumors of wars increasing, because you're going to hear rumors of wars in the news, which it might be just a not 100% true of that story, according to the media. Because a lot of things people say in the media might not be 100% true at some times. Then at times you're going to hear these wars and rumors of wars. It's actually going to become a reality of that story, of that rumor, of that story is actually definitely going to come in reality, And I believe this is another article that I brought out as well too. This one right here, the United States gave it an okay, because the United States and Saudi Arabia, they allies as well too, especially with the with the tensions that's going on in Yemen. Because the United States backs Saudi Arabia, because they was having that little confrontation, clash wars between the Saudis and the Yemen people over there in Yemen, most likely the southern part of Yemen. Now, even though Yemen and the different organization factors over there in Yemen, I believe they extended their peace treaty trust agreement for the next 2 months, I believe. So, let's see how that turns out. And then this is a news article right here from the United States. It says the U.S. clears heavy arms sales to Middle East state. It says State Department has permit the sales of 300 Patriot missiles. Right, just like the United States gave it an okay, their military defense arms to Taipei, Taiwan as well too. So that might have been another reason why Nancy Pelosi visited over there in Taiwan, to show their commitment to the Taiwanese people, that they so-called come in peace with the Taiwanese people or whatever. So that's just going to stir more tensions between China and United States, as as the United States fully commitment support Taipei, Taiwan, and then China is still in the uproar of United States fully supporting Taiwan, in Beijing, and China doesn't like that. So they're gonna start some more tensions. It is gonna increase more than ever between the United States and China. And so that lets you know the relationship is going to get even more rockier and more difficult for the China-United States relations, as it get more worse and worse now than ever. And it's going to increase against confrontation against one another. And continuing on with the news article, it says the U.S. clears heavy arms sales to Middle East state. The State Department has permitted the sales of 300 Patriot missiles to Saudi Arabia to enhance its defense. It says the U.S. State Department greenlight a potential sale of 300 Patriot missiles and related equipment to Saudi Arabia to bolster its defense for an estimated cost of $3.5 billion, the Defense Security Cooperation Agent said on Tuesday. The agent said that the kingdom requested to buy 300 Refton technology-made MIM-143E missiles. The deal could also include the procurement of all necessary related equipment, as well as technical documentations and spare and repair parts. Washington believes that this deal will support foreign policy goals and the national security objectives of the United States, because it could improve the security of a partner country in the Gulf region. According to the Defense Security Cooperation Agencies, the sale is meant to replenish the whaling and Saudi stocks of Patriot missiles, while helping the kingdom bolsters its potential to meet current and future threats. The latter, in particular, are said include the Houthi rebels, right? Because the Houthi rebels is an Iran-backed military group that supports Iran. It says from Yemen, whose attacks may compromise the well-being of the local population. Right, so over there in Yemen, since they made that extended of a 2-month trust peace treatment agreement to calm tensions down, but I expect to see gonna have more once again tensions between the Saudis and the Houthi rebels in Yemen. So that tension is going to increase now more than ever, even though it kind of calmed down a little bit. But you're going to see those two different nations going to continue to clash it out with one another, and then you're going to have different clashes between two different organization factors over there in Yemen as well too. You're going to see a lot of that as well too, even though tensions might calm down, but it's going to escalate once back more again, because like I mentioned before, you're going to see more of the increase of the nations rising against nations and kingdom against different kingdoms as well too, and more increase of the wars and rumors of wars, now more so than ever. And it says the agency also noted that the Saudis will be able to integrate Patriot into its armed forces with any problems, arguing that the proposed deal will not change the military balance in the region. It says the announcement comes after U.S. President Joe Biden visited the Middle East nation last month to discuss various topics, including a particular energy security. Biden also said he confronted Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman over the murder of Washington Post communist Jamar Kozlowski. So yep. And I think it was one more article. I think it's one more article as well too that I wanted to look up. Oh yeah, this is the last one right here. So that goes to show you more increase of wars, rumors of wars. And this is another news article. And this is be the last news article. Then I'm gonna close out the lesson. And it says Azerbaijan conduct military operations in the Nagorno-Karabakh. This was highlighted August the 3rd, 2022. Russia FSC World News on RT.com, and a highlight of this news article, and it reads, and I'm going to read it once again: Azerbaijan conduct military operation in Nagorno-Karabakh, if I pronounced that right. It says troops target positions, local militaries in a retaliation strike. Baku has said armed forces of Azerbaijan has conducted a military operation against the Nagorno-Karabakh military that sought to establish a new combat position in the region. The National Defense Ministry said in a statement on Wednesday the Azerbaijan army seized control over some important commanding heights during what it called Operation Revenge. It added, the operation launched after the local grossly violated the 2020 ceasefire agreement between Yerevan and Baku, meditated by Moscow in 2020. The defense added that Baku had earlier accused the Nagorno-Karabakh military after attacking Azerbaijan positions in the region and confirming the death of at least one soldier. The ministry also published videos that appeared to show an airstrike on local military base housing some artillery units. Footage shows several towed artillery pieces and trucks being destroyed. So the video, I'm not gonna take the copyright take the video off because I don't want to get a copyright claim. And as you seen that whole clip right there, the video I just played, even though I couldn't play the video because I ain't want to copyright claim, as I mentioned before. As you seen, they had a little operation was going on right there between the two nations. And continue on reading with the news article. It says tensions have been running high in the region in Nagorno-Karabakh for days now. So wow, that's been recently, because I know there've been these two have tensions in the past, about a year or two ago. So I see the tensions are starting to increase back up once again in that region over there. It says the region, which is officially organized as part of the Azerbaijan, is not under Baku de facto control. It is a home of significantly ethnically Armenian population. It says both Yerevan and Baku have recently accused each other military provocations in the region and have reported casualties. Russia has a peacekeeping force in the area, reportedly ceasefire violation, and it says it took measures to resolve the issue arising. It says each side have been accused the other side of attacks, including intensive shelling since Monday, when the first reported about the flare-up appeared. The local media, Armenian media, reported that the Azerbaijan troops attacking the local ethnic Armenian militaries in several locations throughout the Nagorno-Karabakh over the past few days has accused Baku of planning an offense in the region. It says the Armenian Ministry of Defense confirmed the deaths of at least 2 soldiers in an attack by the Azerbaijan, adding that 14 other service members have been injured. It says Armenian Security Council Secretary Armin Grigorin told the local media on Wednesday that Baku wanted Armenia to stop using the so-called Lakshin corridor, a mountainous pathway that links it to the dispute region of Nagorno, and to choose another route. The Grigorin has denounced such demands as a violation. Such demanding a violating the 2020 agreement. Russian peacekeeping forces stationed in the region reported 3 ceasefires violations by Azerbaijan troops on Tuesday, and said that these results in at least 1 local member being injured. The peacekeepers told efforts to resolve the situation by working with both Azerbaijan and the Armenian side, the Russian Ministry on Defense said in a statement. So yeah, these 2 nations been going against one another ever since that peace deal in 2020, and ever since then, tensions been calmed down in the region. Now the tensions are increasing now more than ever because both sides throw blame at each other on violating the 2020 resolution of the ceasefire. So I believe it's, I guess, on either side, ceasefire violations definitely increasing. And from that, it results of the violations, you have some service members have been injured, and a couple of them been killed as well too. So that goes into Matthew's 24:7. Nations rising against nations and kingdom against kingdoms, and it's definitely going to increase now more than ever. Especially we hear these stories on an everyday basis of the different nations and different kingdoms clashing it out against one another, proxy wars, increasing wars and rumors of wars, and the increase um, and increase animosity towards the nations got against one another, or long-time adversaries having on and off confrontations and conflicts between one another. And that goes into Luke 21:9. These shit here are commotions and wars, and that's what we're hearing increasingly around the globe, around the world globally, and it's going to increase now more than ever. So with that, hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and above.